Thank you all so much for joining. We are going to go over our free 10-step e-guide on how to date effectively. I have already did a video for step 1 where we talk about testing the fruit, knowing them by their fruit. Do they operate in the fruit of the spirit? Observing their actions. What do you actually see? What do they actually say? Do they align? What is their perspective in life? What is their perspective in marriage? What is their view of marriage? Do they connect? And step 2, we're going to talk about actually getting to know the person. Super exciting. I just first want to thank everyone for taking the opportunity to review our free e-guide on how to date effectively. We hope to bring insight on the importance of dating effectively when fulfilling godly purpose and assignment. Whoever you decide to marry, it's crucial to know, because if they don't understand your God-given purpose, they can derail you, they can distract you, they can delay you, they can just not be a good help or support to where God is leading you to. And then you're spend your entire life trying to get them on board to the direction God has for you, opposed to them already being on board with the direction God has you on. So you want to make sure that when we're dating effectively, they understand your God-given purpose, they align with the will of God for their lives, they're obedient, they submit to the will of God. And if you're a woman, you want to make sure the man can lead you. And if you are a man, you want to make sure that that woman is a helpmate to where God is taking you. The choice on who to marry will be one of the biggest decisions you will have to make. When connecting with the wrong individual, it can derail you from the path God has set for you because of interest, idolatry, and readiness. A lot of times people connect with others because of readiness. You're ready. You waited long enough and you feel like this may be your last resort. This may be your last option. Time is dwindling and you feel like there may not be another choice. So because of your idolization of being ready for someone, you just accept the next thing without consulting God or getting confirmation from God that this is the person for you. And we don't want to do that. You should never allow the desire to be loved, appreciated, catered to, or wanting to build with someone outweigh what God is actually saying. Sometimes our desires could be so strong where we're ignoring what God is actually saying in the season, and we do not want to ignore God. The flesh causes us to rush in a season or walk into seasons prematurely. We want to make sure that we're prepared, we're equipped. God said it's time to connect with people, time to build relationships, time to network, time to date with intention. We want to make sure that we are in the appropriate season, prepared for the appropriate season. We live in a society where instant gratification has become normalized and has crept in the daily way of thinking and actions, giving little to no access for God to reign and lead in our lives. So the desire to want right away, it gives really no access for God to lead, because at the right time, the Lord will make it happen. But if we're rushing our understanding or we're rushing into relationships, we're not allowing God to reign. And we want to make sure that we are submitting to the will of God and we allow God to lead our direction, God to lead our dating life, God to lead our connections, our businesses. We want to make sure that God is leading and we are allowing Him to go before us in all things. Instant gratification merely gives room for accountability, honesty, acceptance, and patience. So when people are rushing things, they make a lot of excuses for why they do what they do because they wanted it right away. And there are a lot of times where when people want things right away, they can become dishonest and impatient as well. In the realm of dating, the need for companionship can weaken morals, boundaries, and non-negotiables. We have created a 10-step e-guide to date effectively. This guide does not guarantee a successful relationship, but it helps to prevent years of wasted time in dating with just potential. We want to ensure that we're just not living a life of error, constantly making mistakes, not learning from them. And if we know that we're continuously making the same mistake, then it's no longer a mistake. You're choosing to live a life in error. We don't want to spend years of wasted time and we look back at our lives and see nothing has been accomplished. There's no success story in our lives. Our journey shows repetitive seasons over and over and over again. It gives way to clear understanding of expectations of whether the individual will be a fit for where God is taking you. This e-guide will be a helpful source to anyone Of course, feel free to add on to the questions that we already have. This will open your eyes and your mind to other areas in which you want to discuss with the person that you're dating or you see a potential in getting to know. When preparing to go out into the dating world, you must be ready to get to know new people and ensure it is God's timing. So we just want to make sure it's God's timing. At the right time, the Lord makes it happen. So if He says it's time, it's time. But if it's not time, there may be something that we need to learn. God may be preparing that person. We just don't know what God is hiding us from. God, is it your time? We need to know. So our 10-step e-guide includes step 1, test the fruits. I already did a video on that. So if you guys are interested in listening to that, it is available on YouTube and our website at www.ourfaithconnects.com. Step 2, get to know your date. We're going to talk about that tonight. Step 3, identify compatibilities. Step 4, know the differences. Step 5, acknowledge imperfections. Step 6, discuss personal backgrounds. Step 7, observe healed and unhealed traumas. Step 8, speak future plans. Step 9, make boundaries and expectations known. Step 10, align living structures. And then we added a dating checklist as well. I do want to give you guys some feedback that we received regarding our free 10-step e-guide, which I thought was really nice as well. They said, "Hi, Millie." Oh, wait. Okay. They said, "Hey, Millie, I've read through it all and I'm truly touched by the heart you've poured into it. The steps you've outlined are so thoughtful and wise, guiding us with such care and faith, and it's beautiful. I can see this being a treasure for anyone seeking a meaningful relationship, and I'd be honored to walk that journey with someone as insightful as you. Can't wait to see more of your amazing work too." And they advised that they would share it with the friends. So I'm telling you, this free 10-step e-guide has been changing lives, and you can get a copy literally for free. You just have to go to our website and then place your email address in. We will send you a copy of our PDF. So step number 2, get to know your date. I personally would say that this step may be one of the most exciting steps for many because it's new, it's intriguing. When you get to know a new person, some people get butterflies at the idea, new sparks and interest, just getting to know someone new, just the thought of having a connection, the thought of just being around someone who understands you, or just the thought of just having fun with someone and being able to try new things with a person can bring excitement to anyone. We just want to make sure that that excitement doesn't end in delusion or ignoring the red flags. You're getting to learn a new person can be refreshing, and there are different angles you can approach this stage. So when you're getting to know someone, of course, there's different areas that you want to know about this person because they're a whole new person. There are times where we get so excited about the person that we forget to actually truly get to know who the person is because of our excitement, just their presence or their attraction or their humor, personality causes for us not to get to the depth of understanding who this person is because, hey, we like being around them. They make us laugh. They're enjoyment. We like the same foods. We like to do the same things. We have similar passion, but we want to get to the depth. And there's different angles we can go about that. I have formulated questions in different areas that can be used as a tool of conversation. So because we already started the discussion of passion, let's talk about it. So what are they passionate about? What do they speak about with passion? What do they advocate for? What are their inspirations? What brings them enjoyment? What makes them feel complete? We want to know what they're passionate about. What do they speak strongly about? Based on what someone speaks strongly about, you can tell like where their heart lies in a conversation because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. We'll be able to know what do they talk about passionately? What do they justify as right? What do they speak on as wrong? We want to know, where do their enjoyment lie? There's very weird enjoyments these days. Some people have enjoyment to bring other people down, or to talk down about people, or to gossip about people, or to lie on people. Okay. So, hey, where is their enjoyment? Do they speak life and life more abundantly? They talk about their future and things that they can look forward to, or what their expectations are out of life, or what they plan to receive out of life and their goals to accomplish that. Where are their passions? That matters. Interests is, what are their favorite foods? What do they like to do on their days off? Who is their friend group? What are their favorite sports, places to go and travel? Do you guys have similar places you would like to travel to, or you would like to go, or have already been? Where do they like to shop? What are their hobbies? What is their favorite genre of books and music? Knowing where they like to shop is actually a good one, because you'll know when it comes to financials and budgeting, do they like to spend a lot of money on clothes or items, or are they a frugal spender, right? Do they spend a lot of money, or are they mindful of how much they spend? We want to know. Habits, what are their daily routines when they wake up in the morning? What are their patterns in their daily life, friendships and opportunities? What is their patterns in communication and enjoyment? How do they communicate? What is considered effective communication to them? Do they like to overtalk? Do they like to be defensive? Do they like to be avoidant? Do they like to allow someone to speak on things, or do they like to get the last word? Are they listening to understand? Are they listening to comprehend? Are they truly trying to understand where you're coming from, or are they rushing what you have to say to then get their point across? How do they communicate? And if there are different communication styles, so it'll be important to know how someone likes to communicate. How often do they clean, shower, and cook? How often do they spend time with loved ones? What are their temptations, routines for wellness? Do they go to the gym? Do they eat healthy? What are their routines? Now, not saying that someone who goes to the gym every day and someone who does not go to the gym will not work out, but it's good to know what their routines are. Do they want a partner who wakes up 6 a.m. to go running or jogging in the morning, right? Because it's considered bonding. What do they prefer? What do they like? What are their habits? Is it something that you can get with? Is it something that you like as well? Communications, what do they consider as effective communication? How do they work out conflicts? How do they speak when they're angry? How do they respond when they're not getting their way? How do they express their emotions? Do they apologize if they're wrong, if they wrongfully hurt you, or wrongfully accused you, or wrongfully came against you? Are they apologetic, and do they mean it? Do they stop what they do, or do they continue to do it? Is it a pattern? What is their communication? Do they hold themselves accountable? Do they have differences in their tone of voice when they're upset? Do their tone raises, or do they get loud? Do they apologize when they're wrong? And we said that. How do they communicate? And this will probably take some time to know, because someone can easily say, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, but then when they're actually upset, it's a whole different story. So I guess with communications, you're going to have to observe their communication and how they speak to you when they're experiencing different types of emotions. Education, where do they go to school? How important is getting an education? Are they employed by a degree? Do they have solid employment? Is their job secured? How important is the level of education obtained? Do they have a master's, a PhD? How important is it to them that their significant other has one as well? And is their job secured? Have they had the job for at least 2 to 3 years? Or are they constantly leaving jobs, getting a new job, constantly getting fired, getting a new job? Like, how long have they been working? And is it solid? Is it a temp job? Do they have steady income? Can they support the home? Can they support the bills? We need to know. Family. How close are they to their family? Are they family oriented? What are some of their family principles? Do they love their family? Do they consider to be an ideal family? What are the generational curses in the bloodline? Are there generational traumas? Is there any unforgiveness in the family? Is the family supportive? Did they grow up with both parents or any at all? How was their upbringing? Did they grow up in poverty? How was their childhood? Were there any neglect or abandonment? Is there any mental illnesses that run in the family? What is their ethnicity? We need to know, because if there is mental health or some type of genetic diseases in the bloodline, we want to know what they are. Because if you have kids with this person, it can be passed down. So we want to know what's in the bloodline, what traumas. Is there any unforgiveness? What took place? And this is when you really get into the depth of getting to know someone. How do they treat their mom? How do they treat their family? If you deal with a man that does not treat their mother right, more than likely they're not going to treat you right as well. So we want to know, how do they treat their family? Finances, how do they spend their money? Are they responsible with money? How do they get their money? What are some financial goals? What are their financial priorities? Where do they invest their money? Are they financially literate? How do they budget their income? Do they have a plan to break financial bondage or poverty? Financially, are they financially stable? What is their financial structure? What are their plans to ensure that you guys live comfortably, especially with the society in which we live in? And the economy fluctuating, going up and down, what is their way of keeping the family stable? And how do they budget their money to ensure that? Do they have a savings account? How much do they place in their savings? How do they spend it? It's important to know. We don't need to know what's in there, but we want to ensure that if there is a rainy day, that you guys are secure. Love, what do they consider as romantic? Are they a hopeless romantic? Do they wear their heart on their sleeve? How do they receive and express love? Do they have any empty voids in their heart? Is there any level of unforgiveness? What is the spiritual condition of their heart? Discuss why past relationships didn't work. We want to know, because when someone places their heart on their sleeve, they're vulnerable to attack because they give people access to hurt them, and then they end up becoming who hurt them. And you want to make sure that they understand the importance of guarding their heart, protecting their heart, which means that we're not allowing everyone in. But then when the time comes, the heart is pure, the heart is loving, the heart is soft. What is the condition of their heart? Have they healed from the traumas, the pain, the empty voids? Did they allow God to fill them? Where are they when it comes to love? Do they love love? Do they love to be loved? Do they love to express love and show love? Are they lovable people? We want to know. Personality. What makes them smile, laugh, and upset? How do they like to unwind? What are their thoughts on personal time and space? Now, this is a big one because sometimes people like time alone. Some people, they don't want to be on their phone all the time or talking on the phone all the time. They like to be by themselves. Now, if you have someone who loves quality time and wants to be around the person 24/7, but you like someone that likes their space, there can be a conflict there. There might be problems there because a person who wants quality time may believe that there's something that they're doing wrong because that person doesn't want to spend time with them. But in reality, they just want to be by themselves. The person who likes quality time may be thinking they're out stepping out with someone else, but they're really in their house reading a book, learning by themselves, right? So you want to know, do they like time alone? What is their peace? Is that their peace being by themselves? How much quality time do they enjoy? How often do they get attitudes and why? If you ever see someone's always irritated, always irritable, just always have a mean grill, or just always speaking negatively, we want to know what and how often do they get attitudes? Why would they be having an attitude? And also, what would get them as irritable? Because I mean, nothing's worse than someone who always have an attitude, because you can be in a joyous mood and their attitude can completely throw you off. And you're like, I was having a good day and you just come here with your attitude. So we want to know, how often do they get attitudes and why? What's the problem? And if they're having a rough day, say they're at work and they're having a rough day, they come home, are they going to get an attitude with you because their day was rough? Or are they going to leave those problems at the door and allow your time with them to be your sacred time with them? How well do they accept constructive criticism, especially when people are very direct and assertive? Sometimes it can be a lot for someone who takes things personal or very emotional. How well can they take constructive criticism? Can you be open with them? Can you be real with them? Are they easily offended? Are they introverted or extroverted? How do they act around people in-house and in public? Because I mean, I've seen people who act totally different from when they're in the house or when they're out with other people. You're trying to figure out, who are you? You know, because you're acting totally different when you're amongst other people. So you want to observe that. How do they act when they're around people in the house and when they're around people in public? Are they embarrassment in public? You know, because there are some people that are just an embarrassment to be around in public, because there are people that like attention or they want a viral moment. So how do they act in public? What are their coping skills? How do they remain calm in tough situations? So if they're having a rough day, or, you know, internally is just something that's not sitting well with them, how do they cope with what they feel or what they're experiencing? Morals, what are their values? Are they honest? Do they lie, deceive, or fabricate stories? Are they trustworthy? What are their principles? Do they walk in integrity? What do they justify? What is their heart posture? What do they show compassion for? What is their maturity level? Do they blame shift to avoid accountability? Do they have the ability to think things through? These are questions we really want to know, because there are some people that are so impulsive that they don't think things through. They don't process everything. So they act based on what they thought momentarily. Now realizing that thought then gone and passed, and now your actions had already been done. So do they have the ability to think things through before they act? We want to make sure that if you're connecting with people, we're dating anyone, that they're able to process and think everything through, understand, outweigh everything, all outcomes of a situation before we just do. We need to think about it. Does it make sense to the circumstance? What are the different outcomes that can come about this thing if I act on what I'm thinking, or if I'm acting on how I'm feeling? What are the outcomes? Weigh them out. Does it make sense to the situation? Will it be beneficial to the situation? Are they trustworthy? I did write a book, The Doors of Deception. So for anyone that's listening to this and you want to really understand how people deceive in today's time and their acts, it's currently available on Amazon.com, and I would truly appreciate the support. I will go ahead and add the link in this video so you guys can click on it if you would like to support and purchase that. I would highly appreciate it, and feel free to add a comment or add some reviews as well after reading the book. God. Most importantly, where is God placed in their life? Are they God-led? Are they obedient to God and can hear from Him? Do they place God at the center and foundation of their life? Will they let God choose their life partner? What are their spiritual gifts? What is their biblical understanding? Do they read the Bible? Do they spend time with God? Do they align with the will of God? And that is the most important thing, is that any relationship that you are in, if you are a believer, the foundation has to be firm, and the only firm foundation will be the foundation of God. It has to be anchored in the principles, the will, the purpose, the counsel of God, the word of God, everything in which we do. The only things that last on the earth is what we do for the Lord. So we want to make sure that this person is placing God first, so that you're not marrying someone to later figure out that this person had no desire to see God. They don't know God. They don't hear from God. They don't even know what direction of life they're going into. They don't read the Bible. They have no wisdom, no understanding. They lack spiritual kingdom principles, right? We want to make sure this person was sent from God, and they make sure that God is the center of their life. So anything that they do, God comes first. That is so important. God has to come first. Amen. Getting to know your date will include going out with them in different environments to see how they act in public settings and whether you truly enjoy their company. You will be able to see how they treat you in public. Are they talkative? Do they act funny? Do they show public affection? How well do they mesh with your personality? So these questions will definitely help in the process of getting to know someone. Of course, go out on a first date with someone, you ask all these questions, but as time progresses and you're getting to know this person, as conversations is coming about, they're telling you about past history, they're telling you about different seasons in their life, they're telling you about their future plans, they're just starting to speak things about themselves to you. You can start asking questions and you can observe what they show you. Some of these questions you can answer yourself based on your observation of the person and what they show you. It's important to really get to know people. I mean, I've seen people who don't even know who they married. They don't even know who that person is at all. And they're trying to figure out, this person showed up as this person. They had a facade on the whole time. They acted like they wanted this. They acted like they took me seriously. And long and behold, everything in which they're showing them caught them by surprise. So we want to make sure we're observing, we're asking God for wisdom so we know who we're connecting with. We're making sure that we're praying about the person and God reveals those things that we don't know so that we understand who it is that we're connecting with. We're not wasting our time and we're not wasting others' time as well. We don't want to waste people's time. That's the biggest thing too. You don't want to waste people's time, because if they're not meant for you, then they're not meant for you. God will place someone in your life that will align with where you're going, and you can trust that. All right, so that is the very last slide. And I pray that this has been a blessing to you. And I am excited to know what you guys think about this. If you guys are interested in our full 10-step e-guide with a dating checklist as well, added on as a bonus, www.ourfaithconnects.com. And if you go to free e-guide, you'll be able to register your email and we will send you over a downloaded PDF file. Thanks, everyone.